Eons ago, the Nine gave me something. Said I'd know what to do with it when the time came. Now, I ain't above looking a gift horse in the mouth. But this horse, well, it ain't got no mouth. You've seen it. That haul I got strapped to the back of the derelict. Time came and went. I all but gave up. Thought I was doomed to drag half a planet's worth of dead weight behind me, until old Sol froze over. But listen, hero. Ever since we got here, something's been scratching at the back of my brain. The hall's acting up. I don't reckon I know what to do with it, but I've got a thought. You could go so far as to call it an inkling. You've banked a lot of motes over the years. Maybe it's time to cash out.
Secure avakesi nikakhona. Ransinada, Esniafakununyavar, Tavan Plesika.
They're clearly very upset, and I don't blame them. Abduction is terrifying. I still haven't been able to suss out why talks with the exiles went south. I mean, these are poor circumstances for negotiation.
The readings on Kepler are still spiking. The singularity is still a threat. We'll need the Ionians' help if we want to open that lock.
That's just as many researchers as the Emeritus said there would be. Didn't lose anyone. That's a relief.
I wonder if you might shed some light on something while we're still learning the language. This settlement is obviously well established, over decades if not centuries, but I see little in the way of weapon emplacements or true fortifications. Has there been no conflict all that time?
That's the gist I'm getting. The Vex are new, and the Elixni, well, they used to have a working trade relationship. Armed conflict is new for the locals.
Turkiya Opagal. Ulfiani Supakun Olan Fusia. Turkiya. Suderia Mulvimika Sukafa Tuya. Usigara Fusiti, Givare Nitanas Balara, Yosundiaba, Adomane, Yaluisia Axias.
You got my favorite thank you! Nice work, Guardian. You reunited the Ionians with their loved ones.
The scale of this problem concerns me. Our forces aren't so robust as to defend this whole settlement indefinitely, and defense is fruitless if we can't stabilize the Singularity. We just discovered a lost colony. This discovery changes how we see our own system. How many others are out there?
Guardian, you've got an incoming call.
You've made great strides in communicating with the Ionians. We've learned their language has multiple origins. Little wonder it needs such effort. Understanding comes not a moment too soon. Between the Elixni and the Vex, the situation here is unstable. And we have so much to learn from them. I followed your example in translating. Script first, then words. These notes you recovered, unbelievable. The advances this outlines in gravitational manipulation, without the light. And that's only one thesis. I hope some of them at least will be amenable to returning to Earth. We cannot lose this connection. We simply can't.
The destructive activity in the agricultural zone is reading as Vex. They're the ones attacking the food supply.
Stop me if this one is obvious, but do Vex need to eat?
Not in any fashion we recognize.
Sounds like an empty life. Then it's just sabotage against the Ionians.
As if they weren't facing enough. The Nine, the Vex, and a Singularity ripping the planet apart. That's too obvious a coincidence to ignore.
Vex looks like it's protecting something. Guardian, watch out.
Vex tended to just let me pass on by before you showed up.
Excuse me? The Vex ignored you. Lodi, how are you so adept with the Ionians' language? You said you've been here a few weeks, at best.
Oh, I was made for this. I'm a translator. I especially love languages I've never heard before.
There's the Vex. When they do that. Guardian, let's redirect and get that shield down. Guardian, we should take a scan of that drive. See if there's any data stuck offline the Ionians need.
It's incredible. Terms I recognize mapped to advanced concepts, prefixes and suffixes as used in agricultural science. We can use this. Let me do some analyzing, but this is a huge missing piece to understanding the Ionians.
Under the circumstances, what keeps the Ionians here? We could begin evacuation proceedings. They would be safe back on Earth.
But they wouldn't be home. They could take a piece of Kepler with them, sure, but it's not the same.
Homes can be replaced, but lives can't.
The Ionians might feel differently about that. This place is sacred to them. The universe determined they belong here. Singularity or not, we can't tell people to pack up and leave yet. Not without helping people who've been stranded from the rest of humanity.
Agreed. No one's leaving until we learn more. Lodi, those Vex. You need to know who controls them. Her name is Maya, the Conductor. She was human once.
What's her objective?
On the surface, to return our current time to a more prosperous one. But her true motive is to reunite with her spouse.
Neither of those sound particularly sinister, but I take it it's what she's willing to do to achieve that goal.
Maya has an ability. She can control whoever she pleases. She's commanding the Vex, a normally leaderless faction, and she's even taken hold of our allies to turn them against us. If she's here, she can do anything to get what she wants.
Alza qui, perché sono tagliata con la mano divina. Perché se fa quindi su mia cara, e alla cara io sia da iarditan, e la saia che su ciusciura, grazie a mia tuia fonde. Aventano a sparare, pochissimo di affasare alla madre. E se mira, xire fossi così cara, pare a mano divina, se tu sinte a paria cosci.
Amane beata, ja sam tu tata moja. Jak singa prakija pa prasikuja. Jaka tam ti se pate ja patinki. Jesunta, ja se kade. Ja sam ja pakaci šuklapo. Jak ikan ja sekundaju. Aserta tule pakaya para parulia sutuja fakuri. Melaka ultima fadumre, Yesun dia farahule. Yesun dia hasushuni, kula kayasun.
I know. The exiles have gotten into the, progenitor ship.
It's the remnants of the colony ship they arrived in. Any vibrational disruption could dislodge the lock and speed the Singularity's growth.
We'd better move fast. Someone once told me that a shuttle quarter that size can go up like a bomb.
the ship the Elixni have taken over, you're saying it's the very one the Ionians came here in?
Part of it, anyway, what's left. They converted it to a permanent emplacement, but they still call it the progenitor ship, the mother of the Ionians. It's the source of all their tools. They put a little piece in every building. Every scientist gets a shot of the hull when they graduate. If the ship goes up, there's a lot the Ionians can't do. Do you have any experience with bomb disposal?
We've handled plenty of mines before. This shouldn't be a problem.
Style of ship is quite old. Even with only this much left, it's incredible. I haven't seen anything like it. The material could have been affected by the time anomaly here. That could account for the relatively good condition.
As a frame of reference, how old would you say it is compared to your ships?
Easily hundreds of years.
Oh.
That equipment sure looks Elixni. Let's see if we can tease it free. Exile, Captain? We must be doing some real damage if they're deploying like this.
Guardian, the mines. If even one of them goes off, it threatens the entire material supply for the settlement. No more anomalous energy signatures. Good work, Guardian. The Ionians are safe because of you.
We have to do more to stop the House of Exile. We know from our dealings in the Accord, the Archon's just out to speed up the Singularity's growth. He's just gonna throw more gas on the fire.
The Guardian will be able to stabilize the Singularity once we get through. There are too many problems, and all of them are connected.
You have no idea.
Unless you have any ideas, then we have to consider evacuation. Reunification with humanity. After centuries apart.
Centuries? No. No, them coming to Earth would be existentially disorienting.
Lodi, please don't mistake me. This is the Ionians' home. We have to believe there's a way for them to return safely.
And what if there isn't?
I am Ricardo Amaro Divina. We are Sindiaba Kuntia Kuli, Yasa Kunya Gora. Muriarena, Dina Bekaya Sunya Kunya, Batise Kuisha. Yasandia Kundiana. Isuka Ola Itana Mekanara, Isunya Kunfasundi, Unyana Hushaka Sundiana. Tuyasaka, unya sinde, uya sinde ala kundi, panak sinde akaruya.
Tequila, mame divina. Isundiaka tunabule, yasundiaka sakania fukuma. Yasunde akila. Yasara Fakine, Ixalorda Yuri, Finke Ura, Bayasune, Alakaya Formara, Ya, Amani the Rinne, Hisa Fakura, Paketu Kurishuri, Iratakia Vake, and Suya Faringiava, Frisangia, Karinga Sikuri, Arisindia, Friatuya.
They found you so fast. My name is Orin. My name was Nassan R. Was Nassia Sawa. What do you call yourself, stranger?
Lodi, pleasure. Miss Orin, do you know something about who brought me here?
I know you will be elected to become something impossible. Your molecules have already volunteered.
I'm sorry, my molecules?
I was the emissary as you are, and will become the same. I quit, and it left me transmuted. think if I can help you adjust, I can reclaim my mind.
Emissary for whom?
The beings in your dreams.
You know who brought me here.
Orin, can you fight?
Persimmon! Oh, yes. Lodi, you can help. Can you see down the Valley of Time? 2 minutes ahead.
I am very sorry, ma'am, but I do not know what you're saying.
Take your time, Orin. Guardian, draw out Maya's Vex. The Vex signals Dean Rebecca provided are cloaked. Something's not right. Vex outposts are usually interlinked. Take these ones down first, and it will weaken the others in hiding.
Here's the Vex Ikora was talking about. Clear up the signals in the area, and bam! We have the location on a bigger boss. And we can use that one to get to the biggest boss. Let's go. We think there's a Strangelet capsule at the ritual site Dean Rebecca told us about. Do you think it was there all along?
It's possible. The way the Ionians talk about dark matter, like even elementary particles of the universe contain a spirit in their way.
The capsule is better for this way. It's fading for me, but I hear the singularity as well, in the distance.
Like a groan. You hear it too?
settlement. I've been constructing a theory. It needs work, but the nascent form is this. After the collapse, few people were leaving Earth. More recently, we would notice. And the Ionians are truly humans. I think they must have come here during the Golden Age. Maybe even before.
You keep saying that word. Collapse? I've never heard the Ionians say Golden Age or anything like it, but they've mentioned a span of time that was good. Better? Could be it.
Lodi, you said your vocation was translating. Now that you've added the Ionians to your repertoire, how many do you speak?
Fluently 4, passively 9, only written 2. Not many folks to speak them with these days. I grew up speaking 3 at home. I learned the others in school. Here and there, anyone who would teach me. Those 2 written ones, maybe I can learn how to pronounce. Said you had the dreams too? Before you became emissary?
Languages I didn't understand. My leg turning to bismuth.
Same. Mine was cadmium, though.
Your continued interference has been noticed.
The Conductor. Even out here, anyone who stands in the way of restoring your new Golden Age ends up trampled. You're here to make things worse.
Am I? I understand our designs for the future seem mutually exclusive to you, but I have ignored the Guardians since Nessus.
What power does this Maya bear? It's hives and nausea. Whatever paracausality she wields is fundamentally rule-breaking.
You chase a villain of your own imagination. My goals are not against you. They are above you. Now, leave us.
She's still going to throw everything she has to get us out of the way. Jade Lord incoming!
So, Maya wants to return us to the Golden Age. The Ionians haven't talked about it. When was the Golden Age?
It ended centuries ago. There's reason to suspect the Ionian ancestors arrived before it began. Imagine watching the world end from the edge of the system.
Ikora, when was all this? Did the collapse happen in my time? Did my family die in an apocalypse? Or did they get to grow old and die happy? I need to know that they live a full life, even if I'm not there to see it.
How long ago? How long? When did the world end?
So many records were wiped out. We don't have an exact number. Hundreds of years ago.
And gone. Are you kidding me? Just like that? There was an apocalypse, and it's ancient history, and that's it. Didn't someone think to etch a date in a stone or something helpful? There's no time capsules, no bunkers, just gone?
And I can't undo any of it.
Lodi. That would have never been possible. Surely you know this.
No. I don't know.
You're not the first person to wake up lost. I'll tell you what I tell the others. The Golden Age rose and fell, and then so did the Dark Age. There were few of us then, and survival barely eked out. But we did. Humans live. We built a city. In time, there will be more.
There were hundreds.
I know. Can you tell me what you do remember?
What does it matter now? I'm sorry. I was... sorry.
It's such a simple question, but I know. I remember stars. I used to drive out into the country to see them. As bright as they were hundreds of years ago. Oh, always used to take my breath away. Just looking up, realizing all over again how much more was out there that nobody saw. Guess the stars aren't such a wonder anymore. Out here.
There are still mysteries. Their identity is so tied to this place, to this work. I wonder if they would be happy if we evacuated them to the city. To take them away from it would be the same as if we left Soul and the Traveler behind. Our purpose becomes null.
I need a little air. Guardian, come find me in the temple.
We've cleared the path for the Ionians to approach their field study site once more. One of them said thank you to me as they were walking by. Lodi mentioned teaching them some phrases. He's been helpful. The Ionians approach science as faith. Utmost belief in understanding through study. Certainty not in the result, but in the process. And in their faith, room for failure. The necessity of it to try again with new understanding. I think I should follow my intuition with Lodi. I should form a new hypothesis. Lodi, as the Guardian tracks down more strangelets, we're wanting to better understand the presence of dark matter on Kepler. Do you have an Ionian contact we could speak with?
Sure do. Dr. Carnahan's gonna be your gal. She's, she's a bit of a recluse, doing a bunch of research out here in the sticks. She was one of the first Ionians I met when I landed here. I say met. She did point some kind of thingamajig at my head. Not a gun, mind you, more like a Swiss Army medieval gauntlet.
Donde precise fundiga. Alla jag hennes balada.
Seeing a spike of exile activity. Is this doctor safe on her own?
It's true the Ionians are a peaceful bunch, but field work requires metal. I'm sure her gauntlet did much more than look sharp. Speaking of, I'm at her research outpost. She's not here, which wouldn't normally be worrisome, but the place is completely ransacked. No sign of her assistant either. He's usually... Oh, damn it.
Lodi?
Take care of those exiles. Let me call you back. X-ray. I'm not really sure how to describe what I'm looking at. A person. I think it's a mess. There's someone was killed. I'm not sure who. There isn't enough left to tell. I need to look around.
Do you need backup?
No. Patrol the area. Cold-blooded murder isn't usually the House of Exiles' MO, but I have a hard time believing the Vex would be this brutal.
Ikora, Lodi, we've got another group of exiles. Though nothing seems out of the ordinary apart from, well, the normal exile abnormality.
I've got some semblance of a trail leading out of here. Take care of those guys. I'll touch base when I've got a lead. Guardian, I've located Dr. Carnahan. She's safe, but she's shaken. Understandably.
If she's safe, then what you saw at the outpost.
Yeah. Her assistant, Reese. Budding linguist. He didn't deserve this.
Mare divina, ella sentía la quinta gloria. Ella halakan, biasamia, atia asumi. Yasimia, hisan, yamunia haratikia. Ai, urias, excellence 15, uyakapolmi. Aratikia, uria sukunia luya. Prakinde uria. But
Dr. Carnahan asked us to find a piece of technology that the House of Exiles stole when her assistant was murdered.
Guardian, there's something here you need to get, closer to the singularity. I'm sending you some coordinates. Do these make any sense to you?
I take it these are from the Nine.
I have to assume so, unless the guys at Langley programmed me a trigger phrase before I left. Guardian, we're looking for a member of the House of Exile. My, hunch led me to some Elixni tracks. My guess is the technology that was taken is on its way to the Archon as we speak. That's our thief. We'll need to move fast.
Can you give us any more information on what we're looking for?
Carnahan called the technology Mattermorph. Does exactly what it says in the package. It can take any matter and break down its molecules in an alarmingly short amount of time.
We've seen how easily Mattermorph can kill. It's too unstable for someone like the Archon to wield. Exercise caution. She's carrying delicate cargo. I'm not sure how resilient this technology will be to a stray rope dart.
If this tech works as well as it sounds like it does, it'll be a big problem in the wrong hands.
Ikora, the thief just dropped a bunch of Ionian artifacts. Lodi said the lab had been ransacked. They must have taken more than just Mattermorph. But why drop the stolen goods?
Hospitality, Deathless. Those who trust the giver receive gifts.
The Archon. Ikora, our thief's being controlled.
And he's claiming hospitality after trying to make all of our problems worse. Archon Lavask. Return the stolen technology, and no one else needs to get hurt.
Exiles, you hear the Deathless make false promises. Nothing appeases their greed as they vie for the Giver's blessing. Extinction fated Deathless. You have the sympathies of the House of Exile.
These dropped artifacts aren't gifts. The Archon's trying to lighten the load to make a quicker escape.
He seems as fortunate as he is reckless. Lifting Mattermorph was just a deadly coincidence.
Robbed a house, found a nuke. All it takes is one wrong judgment call and the Exiles could level Kepler.
As well as we do that Kepler isn't stable. How can we help your people?
There is no need. Lavask is prophecy blessed. Lo, my exiles, I see without eyes. The Giver's Feast. The Rim of Soul. Bent. Exile's Triumph. The Deathless Dead. And dead. And dead again.
You think 3 is going to send you home? The grand design you speak of means Kepler falls into the singularity, and the rest of Soul with it.
Feed the Giver. Let the wormhole swallow all and tear through the eternal unknown. Felsic's will is at her Archon's command.
She drop all that junk at your command too?
Every failure is proof of the greater victory. The grand design is grand indeed.
This guy's not playing with a full deck. There is no plan.
Felsic's will is at her Archon's command.
She drop all that junk at your command too?
Every failure is proof of the greater victory. The grand design is grand indeed.
This guy's not playing with a full deck. There is no plan.
Archon. It doesn't have to be this way. On Earth, Eliksni and humans live in peace. They have homes, plentiful food sources, fellowship.
Earth Eliksni practice sacrilege of the highest order. They have no place in a grand design.
Ikora, Lodi, we've got Mattermore. Interesting. It's reacting to that pylon. Guardian, let's investigate.
Archon Levask, a member of your house is dead by your misjudgment. Open up the way to the Singularity. No one else has to die.
What is sapient life, if not bodies? Fel 6 was necessary. Defeat is victory in the eyes beyond time.
He shut off his channel. A leader so obsessed with the hold he has on the world, he's willing to sacrifice his entire house for a paltry slice of power.
There's no grand design. Nobody's driving the car. This guy's just riding shotgun trying to convince us he's behind the wheel.
Mane Divina, Tokia Pasulia, Ulia Satakaya, Insulia, Aruya Duyakum. Yasakulia, Yasapadia Ful. Yasun, Insulia Kutulia Sawaya, Ayula Kumbuya.
You can probably feel it too. The pull of gravity stolen, directed.
I think I follow. Who's doing the stealing?
The mycelial priest. Stop. The Archon.
You're saying the Archon's getting the power of the Nine somehow? And that's why he's so dangerous?
Yes. His grand design smells of unknown space. This giver did not give gifts willingly.
I spoke with Dean Rebecca about Kepler's degradation status. With the Strangelets, we've been able to keep the Altar of Relativity stable, but it's not going to be enough to get us through it to 3.
We'll need to get them a stronger source of power. What options do we have on a planetoid as remote as Kepler?
It sounds like these folks have been relying on some shaky generators since the House of Exile took over their power plant in the Outer Steppes.
Then getting them a stable power source is our next step. Guardian, you take point. Head to that plant to see what can be done to remove the Exile threat and get it up and running again.
The Strangelet souls, corners of the steps.
Glad to have you along, Orin. And good to know. We'll help the Ionians and get a few steps closer to reaching the 9. Our purpose here is twofold. Lodi informed me the Ionians' power situation is dire. They've been relying on outdated generators since the House of Exile locked down the path to the Singularity. With our efforts to stabilize the altar, those energy stores are growing more inefficient by the minute. We need to fix the reactor and alleviate the strain on their generators as soon as possible.
Swallow your tremor. We are being observed by the 9. I will try to find them.
Stay safe, Orin. And stay focused, Guardian. There's a Strangelet here that was taken by the Exiles. Securing it will get the Guardian through to 3.
Ikora, we've reached the main reactor room.
Excellent. You'll need to tap into the reactor's kernel interface. With any luck, this will be a simple reboot sequence.
Proceed with caution. The temperature is limbo.
Okay, I'm still getting unstable power readings. It's not enough to totally reboot the system, but we've opened a door leading to another power source. Follow that cable, Guardian.
It's them. Damn it, it's still them. It's always them. It's the 9. We were supposed to turn on the lights. Guardian, these words are not my own.
Progress. Trending and fleeting. Met with primeval victory. Set in motion to vivify. Did you play the game? Keep eyes on the field. Bank every mote. Instructions given unheeded. The Drifters Hall arriving. We hope you prepared. Help. Did you pay attention, Guardian?
We've got exiles incoming.
Orin, you all right? I can see why you left.
I wanted my freedom back. As emissary, I knew I was signing it away, but what I got in return wasn't worth it in the end. Just when I saw through to the past, learned my own names, they scraped me out hollow. I learned the hard way liberty was more valuable than power. They can keep the kid with the nicer bosons. My freedom is worth the price. You hear that? Don't even try.
activating another power source.
It's not enough to bring the reactor fully online. There has to be another around here somewhere. Orin, as far as I'm concerned, the Nine ignored every single one of our existential threats in recent memory. Gaul, the Hive Pantheon, the Witness. None of them warranted extra-dimensional intervention.
Oh, they intervened. You'll just never know. Everything you listed happened because the Nine allowed it.
I'll just never know. If you make bold claims without proof, you'll start speaking like the Archon.
I can see their temporal fingerprints on the Guardian. On Lodi, on Drifter, on me.
Eyes up, Guardian. Here's the source of all the trouble.
They've wronged you, Orin. That much is clear. But their interference in the larger affairs of Sol seems minimal.
How about on your cohort? The Hall? That hideous thing dragging behind the Drifter's ship. The Nine gave it to him years ago. Didn't say what for. He tell you it's reacting to Kepler?
Yes. He was almost uncharacteristically forthcoming with that information. He's got the situation under control.
You don't understand.
I'm trying to. The power source is offline. We'll need to reactivate it before the exiles cause more trouble.
That's working now. Enemies incoming.
clear. I don't doubt the Nine exist, nor am I trying to minimize your struggle for freedom, Orin. You said we came to Kepler at the Nine's behest. But so far, all I've seen is a planet on the brink of annihilation unless we do something to stop this black hole. Where is the intervention?
It already happened. The Nine collected their tax. On the Drifter's Hall. On Lodi's gift. On the Guardian's calibration. On you, Ikora. We just haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry. Transform and static the final power source.
the last power source available on the grid. I'm hoping it'll be enough to cycle the power and get the reactor up and running again. Orin's perspective is eerie. The Nine are either completely detached or so involved they overtake your life. I think I'm feeling that dread Ikora was talking about. Let's get out of here. Fast. What about the Guardian, Orin? They've changed the fate of the universe. They chose to be here.
Each choice, right, trial, wasn't absent an organizer. Do you know you comply with instructions you don't know exist? From the moment you arrived on Kepler, you've marked coincidence after coincidence. Happenstance, serendipity. The brush of a spider web against your cheek may as well be chiseled slabs to the Nine.
Watch out. A large contingent of Elixni Shanks is approaching. They seem drawn to the central reactor now that it's producing an energy signal.
Rot! Damn it! Colossal Shank!
expect it now?
The likelihood of the outer orbits being knocked out of position has decreased. They appreciate that... Oh, am I finally allowed to remember something?
They're speaking to you?
They are reminding me... No, I am reminding me. The message.
You've talked about this message before. Is it for us?
It is. It's in the slab I chiseled myself as the Nine fought to tear me apart. But the relief is weathered, blurred and buffed away by their sands.
Focus. If there's something you need us to know, I trust you can find it again.
Chisel in hand, I will remember, but not yet. Not until the time is ripe.
Guardian, get that Strangelet capsule back to the Ionians. Now that the power's back on, we're that much closer to reaching the Singularity. Lodi, Drifter, we have another Strangelet. The Guardian's dropping it off at the altar. Drifter, any updates on the hull?
It's starting to drift toward... almost like a gravitational pull. I'm burning thrusters just to keep it in place. I don't know what'll happen when I let this bird loose, but I'm seeing this through, even if my instincts are telling me to scram.
I'd be worried if your instincts weren't telling you to run from a black hole. Glad to have you here with us, Mr. Drifter.
We have one more Strangelet to find before our work here is done.
It's almost time to meet 3.
They want to talk to you. To help you understand, both of you. Oh no, don't touch it. Sorry. I don't know what happens if you touch it.
You hold it. Guardian, get close.
Two speaks on behalf of 3 that you might grasp your necessary presence at this point in space, in time. Command. Your first step. scheduled at our hand. An intervention necessary to ensure attendance.
The Nine killed me to get me here?
From simple perspectives, the technicality. Lightbearer, thank you for your attendance with minimal interference. To you we say, vengeance required. The culprit lies within. The drifter must prepare his gift. Emissary, reveal your truth. Wake the dead. They will speak. You will listen.
Why would we listen? The Nine manipulated our lives. How far back?
Tu showed me how you died. But I already knew the rest. You deserve to know the truth. I'm sorry, Miss Ray.
Now when I call you up, it's like your phone don't ring, baby. And when I see you in a crowd and call your name out loud, it's like you don't hear a thing. Like a king who lost his crown. If you need me, I'll be around. Treat another place. But right now, darling, when it feels like my world is falling, I hope and I pray that soon there'll come a as I hang my head in shame, dreams of the past.
What was your name?
Lewis. Agent Lewis Sierra.
Thank you, Lewis.
How long did you know?
From the second I saw you.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because you're not her! I figured the Nine put you here to torture me. The one face I'd recognize. And she had no idea who I was. If I told you, it would be because I wanted that. Not because it would help you.
Well, you're right. It doesn't. You know that much about me, Lodi. Did the Nine kill me just to ensure I would end up here?
Yes. Maybe your body had to be in the right place for your ghost to find you?
I woke up by a car in the desert with a flower in my hand. Ophiuchus chose me as his guardian. And every choice I made led me here.
Catastrophic intervention. That flower was an aster. She...
Guardian, someone's on the line.
Guardians forget their past life for a reason. Who we were is immaterial to our potential as paracausal beings. I am Ikora Rey, Warlock Vanguard. I am an accomplished scholar, pioneer Thanatonaut. I've won hundreds of Crucible matches, and I have thwarted humanity's most dire threats time and time again. The woman I saw, the woman Lodi knew, she wasn't me. I don't even know her name. Yet, I mourn her. She had a life, a vocation, a family she loved. The Nine took that from her. And for what? So they could throw the very same train that killed her at me centuries later? Sprinkle a clever little trail across Sol for us to follow? For what? I have no desire to see more of that woman's life. But I need answers. She deserves them.
Orin? That you?
Yes. There. And here. I was expecting Ikora's tone.
Right, I'm patching her in. Look, we left off on the wrong foot. And I know right before you run off with the Guardian to stomp Vex into dust ain't the best time. But I'm sick of counting seconds not taken for words that should have been said. Someday soon, I'd like to clear the air. Just watch your back out there. House's Archon's still at large. There's trouble brewing, and I think you're in the middle of it.
Where we need to be. I think the Vex seek the Nine, through a trace of their influence. Their operation is coiled wires, but with the Guardian, we can cut through. When they pushed out the house, they claimed a capsule of quantum threads. If we want to know why we were brought here, we need it.
You can see like a sundown. Parece que a